מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אכסל, בנודש ירביצני, על ימי מנוחות ינעלני, נפשי ישובב ינחני במקלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגיא מוות, לא ידע רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The words of the 23rd Psalm, a Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. Giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. I would like to welcome all of you who came out to pay your respect. And I would like to welcome everybody watching online, so thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me or don't recognize me behind the mask, I'm Rabbi Anibal Mas from Congregation Shaare Zedek, and it's my honor to officiate this funeral service, to say goodbye to Debra Stern of blessed memory. She was also known by the Jewish people by her Hebrew name, Debra Ethel Bat Israel Vechana Leah, Zichronah Livracha. She was the daughter of Cyril of blessed memory and Anita, beloved wife of Richard, the sister of Jeff and Cheryl, Marshall and Mireille, the mother of Zach and Patra, Thea and Samara, the grandmother of Kieran. Debbie passed away unexpectedly on Wednesday, February 24th, at the age of 58. There are times when it's truly difficult to be a human being in this world. There are certain events that cry out for words of comfort, which demand the deepest wisdom, that require the sharpest insight and a call for the wisest perspective. Unfortunately, in these situations, we often find ourselves inadequate for the task at hand. We are as if struck down. There are no words. Our wisdom departs from us. We are overwhelmed by feeling of grief, helplessness, outrage over the apparent cruelty and injustice of human existence. In these situations, we realize that there are no answers. We simply cannot understand why things happen the way they do. And if we happen to believe in God, we can't then understand why God rules the universe in the way that He does. In times like these, perhaps it's difficult to imagine that God is concerned for us or for His creation. Because if God cares about us so much, why would He take Debbie's life so soon and so sudden? However, these questions are by no means new questions. Thousands of years ago, in the book of Job, God is challenged by this very issue. And God replies with a whole series of questions, saying in so many words, "Where were you, Job, when I created the universe?" God made it clear to Job that we cannot understand why things go wrong in the universe. But there are certain things that we do know. For example, today we can remember the countless amount of people that Debbie helped as a clinical psychologist. We can cherish her predisposition to always help others and to welcome them into her home. The rabbis said, a day that a Jew does not do a kindness is not considered a day in his or her life. Such a sentiment suggests that it's not enough to passively not do the wrong things. Rather, it is necessary, like Debbie did, to proactively seek out opportunities to do the right thing. I still remember the last time I saw Debbie. I was at the post office sending a parcel to the East Coast. Unfortunately, the package wasn't properly closed. I asked the clerk at Canada Post if she had some tape that I can borrow. And she replied with a grin, "Sorry, we don't do that anymore. You will have to buy some." And by some, she meant a pack of 4 packaging tapes. And there was Debra Stern. I didn't realize she was witnessing the scene. She said hi and offered me her tape. so I could seal my parcel. I thanked Debbie. We had a little rant about certain practices at Canada Post, and we went our ways. But this is the type of person that she was. Always ready to help. Even more, she was a person that was passionate about helping others. Out of all the meaningful traditions we have in Jewish funerals, perhaps the most important one is to eulogize the dead. The word eulogy means a good word. Giving a eulogy is a way to honor a person's life. It is also a way to provide comfort to those who are heartbroken. So, to continue with this process, I would like to invite Jeff to come to the microphone to share with us his memories.
Okay, I'm told I have to speak quickly. It's so cold out here. Can't see. Cheryl, can you hold it? Okay. When Debbie was born, I not only had a sibling now, but I also had a bath buddy. Until she began to get into her exploration stage, and then it was game over. In those early years, Debbie and I were not only brother and sister, but we were also the best of friends, always playing kids' games, watching the Sunday Disney and the weekday cartoons, and we would spend hours and hours outside with the neighbors' kids, just playing out there, except breaking for lunch and for dinner. And then we'd go back out until the sun came down, and we would try to hide from our mom when she'd be calling us to go in to go to bed. She could also do no wrong. One time, we got into one of those famous sibling rivalries around the dinner table, and Debbie drove a fork in my thigh. But I got punished. There was another time where we were playing outside with the neighborhood kids, and one of the kids accidentally hit her arm from behind, and I was behind out of the line of vision. And even though I kept telling Debbie who did it, I got blamed and I got punished. I was that fall guy. But it wasn't always like that, because Debbie had a fun side to her. She wore braces, and she had a retainer and elastics, and I remember one time we went out for family celebration dinner, and Debbie, we were all talking, and then all of a sudden Debbie went to say something, and one of those elastics shot right out of her mouth, over our grandfather's head, and onto the table right behind us. And all Debbie did is she started to giggle. She kept a straight face and just giggled like nothing even happened. And they're looking around like, where did this come from? But fun times aside, Debbie had a very nurturing side, which is why when I think of my sister, the phrase only the good die young comes to mind. Regardless of what might have been going on in Debbie's life, anytime, she was always, always there for me. I remember with a tragic night when we got the call that our father had died, and Debbie, if I could get to the page, I'm frozen here. Yeah, and Debbie said, you come to stay with Richard and I as long as you need to. Just without question, it didn't matter what was happening. She'd got a friend to bring a cot over, and there I was, staying with them. Another memory I have is when I was living alone, and early one morning while I was asleep, I had this horrendous Charlie horse in my spine, and I ended up on the floor. It was so intense I couldn't even get up, My legs wouldn't move. I panicked. I dragged myself to a chair, not even knowing that it was like 6:30 or so in the morning, and I'd called Debbie. Debbie stayed on the phone with me, calming me down for like, it must have been 45 minutes until my legs started to regain. She was like, are they starting to move again? And then she just talked me down because I was just so scared. Debbie, I'm certain that you were greeted in heaven by our cousin Sharon, whom you were so close to as kids. I can actually hear Sharon's signature giggle right now, and I can only imagine the shenanigans she's getting you into and you guys are doing up there. My wife Cheryl wishes me to share a memory as well. Many years ago I asked Debbie for the family coleslaw recipe, not knowing if it was a secret for the family or not. Her email reply was, it's the best coleslaw we've ever tasted. It's been handed down and passed on to many, many people, too many to count. She wanted it to be referred to as Debbie's coleslaw. Not only that I would remember the recipe that came from her, but it would also, as she said, make me famous for a second. And then in brackets in the email she put, I'll take what I can get. So to honor Debbie's memory, Cheryl will pass that recipe along to anybody who wants it. All you need to do is send an email to me, jeff@jeffstern.com, jeff@jeffstern.com. In the subject line, just put Debbie's coleslaw recipe and it'll be sent to you. Debbie, you're now famous. Cheryl also says, thanks, Debbie, for being a great sister-in-law. And Cheryl, Mom, to you, Cheryl says that when Cheryl's mom passed away, you said to Cheryl that you will be her mother. Well, Cheryl, she says she's now going to be your daughter. I do have something from our brother Marshall in Vancouver, who obviously couldn't get here. And Marshall says, I'm saddened that due to the pandemic, I'm not able to be here in person to hug my family, to mourn with them, and to say goodbye to my sister. Please know that although I'm not here, I am there in my heart, and I'm watching and I'm thinking of everyone throughout this difficult time. Before I speak of our dear sister, I want to take the opportunity to thank the following people. First, I want to thank my brother Jeff. He says, yes, bro, I'm making you talk about yourself in the third person. I want to thank him for the many hours he spent in organizing and arranging things and keeping us all in the loop. I know it's been a difficult time to have to do all the paperwork and arranging while dealing with your own emotions. So thank you. Richard, these words can't begin to say how grateful I am for all that you have done for not only my sister but my mom as well. You've been there for both of them in a time of need, and I think of you. In particular, you remained by my sister's side these last few years as she battled her health struggles. I know the two of you took care of each other, and knowing that she was not alone in the end warms my heart. I will be forever grateful to you for this. Mom, thank you for being you. Although you and Debbie had your moments, some of them, as you said, in big capitals, loud moments, like Debbie slamming her bedroom door shut many times growing up, in the end, you were there for her every single day, even though she didn't always show that she knew that she was so fortunate to have you as her mother, and she knew she loved her, and she knew you loved her, and she loved you. Finally, sis, Debbie. She hated when I called her sis. Growing up, you were like a second mother to me. Like I said at your wedding, many, many, many years ago, you were there for me when I needed you, and even when and he says in big letters, didn't. You and Richard helped me learn how to be a better student in high school, and then how to actually cook dinner other than his famous hot dogs and Ichiban soup, and clean the house. Pardon me here. Can't seem to... Sorry. Okay. When the three of us lived together, actually scrap the clean the house part, because cleaning was not your specialty. What was, however, her specialty was giving others care when they needed it most. She took care of my grandfather in his final years. Even in her rough days, she was there on the phone to listen and give advice to her kids, me, Jeff, my mom, and so many others. You were always there for me, giving me advice, especially as I became a father to Josh and Jordana, and I had to deal with all the things a parent deals with. I guess you could say she really was a mother to so many. One funny story I have goes back almost 30 years. I was visiting, staying with them, and Thea was just a toddler. We were in the kitchen and Debbie was standing near the fridge. I'm not sure what Thea was doing in her diaper, but she put her hand in her diaper and she pulled out and threw a piece of poop which landed on Debbie's lip. Debbie laughed hysterically, but the funny ironic part here is that Debbie had a fear of expired dairy and would freak out if there was expired milk or cottage cheese, but a piece of poo in her mouth was okay. That was Debbie, a mother to the core. Debbie, I miss you so much, and I'm proud to be your brother. I know you are in a better place now and surrounded with loved ones that we've lost in the past. Please do me a favor. Say hi to Dad for me. Love your little brother, Marshall. So, in closing, Thea, Zach, and Samara had asked me just to say how much they love you. And we love you to death, and we just want you to be at rest now. There is an announcement here. For those of you that are extended family and close friends, please watch your email, because we are going to be doing a Shiva tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Winnipeg time. And that's everything. Thank you.
Sharing those memories with us, because as long as our hearts and souls and memories remain intact, our loved ones continue to live within us. Over time, hopefully, these recollections of Debbie will become present with more joy than grief. With the healing of the wound of death, we can eventually celebrate the return of Debbie to the source of life, securing the knowledge that she did well in her lifetime and that all will be good with her in the life of the world to come. The memorial prayer. El Malera Hamim Shohem Bameroimim Hametzem Menuchanechona Tachat Kafei Hashechina V'ma'alot Kedoshim Kedoshim Uteorim Kezoyer Araki Amazirim Edenishamo אדני שמה דברה אתל בר ישראל וחנליה שעליך לעולמה ועבור שאנו מתפללים ועד הצקרת נשמת וגן עדן וגן עדן מנוחתה לכם ולרחמים יאסתיריה וסדר כנף לעולמים וצרור בצרור החיים החיים את נשמתה אדוני ונחלתה ותנוח ושלום על משכבה ונאמר Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure the soul of Debra Stern, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that a loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Please join me now in the recitation of the words of comfort, the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Itgadal ve'itgadash shemei Rabba. Ve'alma divirah chidutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyamechon v'chaye dechol Beit Israel. V'agala u'vizman kari ve'imru amen. Yeheh shemer Rabba mevorach le'alam u'le'almei olmaya. Yitvarach ve'yishtavach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitrumam ve'yitnaseh ve'yithadar ve'yithale ve'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'eila min kol virchata ve'shirata v'shvechata ve'nechemata namiram ve'alma v'yimeru amen. Yesh lama Rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Israel v'yimeru amen. Ose shalom imrama v'yase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel